Developing tonight here at 5 o'clock. New here, UPS announced late today they are laying off employees at their Centennial Ground Hub. The company says their day sort at the hub is closing effective February 16th. UPS could not give us an exact number of people this would affect, but we do know drivers are not impacted. We asked if the layoffs were related to recent unionization efforts at the Centennial Hub, but a UPS spokesperson said no. Rather, it was because of declining package volume. Going on to say in a quote, "In our industry, packages equal jobs, and we need to match capacity and the number of jobs with current package volume. Our employees are extremely important to us, and we understand the impact this may have on their families. We are working to minimize the impact to our people wherever we can." End quote. That's all the information so far UPS would give us at this time. And also here at 5 over in Oldham County, some big changes are on the horizon for its police department as it prepares to move into a new headquarters sometime next year. They're moving into the well-known open range gun shop that's off LaGrange Road over in Oldham County, Crestwood specifically. Owner Barry Laws ran the business for 18 years in this spot. WHAS11's Connor Steffen and senior photojournalist Alyssa Newton are talking to both Laws and county officials about their hopes for the future.
The shelves clear inside open range.
I remember I brought my little boy here for a birthday.
Customers reminisce.
They came because it was probably going to be the last hurrah.
And mourned the loss of a beloved business. I gotta ask, what is it like to see the empty shelves in your store?
It makes you sick.
One Barry Laws opened in 2005. With a legacy he thinks of often.
Well, as probably a premier training institution for safety and the Second Amendment in Oldham County, and I think we achieved that goal.
He says after 18 years, signs pointed toward retirement. That's when he went looking for buyers.
Actually, we're looking for a lot of positive out of this, and I think we're in the right location as well.
And ended up speaking with Oldham County Police Chief Greg Smith, who's ready to trade in the department's old headquarters.
It's a good building, but quite frankly, it's more of an office building than it is a police department.
For this new several thousand square foot facility.
The fact that we can have a larger space would be much better.
Smith oversees 46 officers in Oldham County and says the new space will help keep pace with the growth in officers they're seeing.
It's going to have a lot of room for evidence, storage, and administration. And
Oldham County Judge Executive David Vogel sees the move as a major investment in the police force, one that came at a more than fair asking price.
This was a good match of a place to be able to practice, but also do your administrative work.
Law says it cost them $2.8 million, a price tag below the appraisal.
I would say they scored. I really would.
Very few departments probably have that type of capacity, and we're looking forward to our people using it.
A strong buy for the department, but a tough goodbye for longtime members.
It's just, like I said, somber. I hate that they're leaving.
But in closing, their legacy lives on in a final gift.
Oh yeah, hopefully. Yeah, hopefully they'll know how to use it.
To help keep the community safe. The store will close on the 31st. The judge executive says after that, it'll take the police department about 6 to 9 months to fully move into this location. In Oldham County, Connor Steffen, WHAS 11, on your side. And Law says his store is currently running a closing sale.
We missed, without a doubt.
And Eric Johnson right there, one of many friends who are remembering the life of an LMPD officer who died while off duty. Police say Officer Mark Cordes suffered a medical emergency yesterday. Cordes started working with the department back in 1991 and stayed until retirement. He was rehired in 2017 and worked in LMPD's 5th Division. Now today, Alexis Jones and photojournalist Emma Gefter spoke with a former officer who knew Cordes well, explaining why he was a perfect fit to serve.
Former LMPD officer Eric Johnson says he still remembers the first time he met Officer Mark Cordes in the early 90s. Then they were just two young men, eager to serve their community.
Mark and I went through the police academy together. We just got to know each other as you do over that many months.
A journey that led to a lifelong brotherhood between Eric Johnson and Officer Mark Cordes. Even after the two went separate ways, Johnson says he and Cordes still kept in touch, making the news about his death even more surprising. According to Metro Police, Cordes died after a medical emergency while off duty Wednesday. A police escort transported him from Bullitt County to Baptist East. Since then, there has been an outpouring of love, which Johnson says is a testament to who Cordes was.
Mark was an onion, and you had to peel back layer after layer after layer. But once you got to the real person, he had a heart of gold. We saw him so many times in very difficult situations do what needed to be done. He was a very good police officer and a very good man.
A man, Johnson says, will truly be missed, not only by the community and his loved ones, but by his brothers and sisters in blue. In Louisville, Alexis Jones, WHAS11 on your side.
Of course, our thoughts with his family tonight. We've just learned the arrangements for Officer Cordes. His visitation will be held next Friday, that's January 5th, from noon until 8 at Highlands Funeral Home on Taylorsville Road. His funeral mass will be the following Saturday morning at 10 at St. Gabriel Catholic Church. That's on Bardstown Road. And a southern Indiana man learned his sentence today, more than 3 years after he was shot by police responding to a domestic violence call. Sebastian Beck was shot by police back in September of 2020 when New Albany police responded to the call on Gordon Drive. That's when Sergeant John Davidson asked Beck to get out of a car nearby. Investigators say Beck backed up and drove toward the officer. Officer Davidson tried to get out of the way and hide behind a bush, but Beck ran it over. The officer feared for his life and fired his gun 4 times, hitting the car and Beck. Now, Beck accepted a plea deal, pleading guilty to attempted battery and domestic battery charges. Now, today, though, this is new. A Floyd County judge sentenced him to 16 years. Prosecutor Chris Lane said this was an important case for his office.
We had an officer who put his life on the line for the protection of our community, more specifically for the protection of a person who was involved in a domestic incident with children present at that location. That's what our officers do every day.
And Beck has already served more than 2 years as his case made its way through the court system. As for Sergeant Davidson, he's still serving with New Albany Police and has since been promoted. Also in court today, a Louisville man accused of running from police while holding a gun. Eventually, one of the officers shot Marvin Smith on Central Avenue right outside Churchill Downs. This was from an incident on December 8th. Now today, an LMPD officer took the stand testifying that Smith pointed a gun at police.
He was running full speed away from the police, correct?
I know that he was running with a loaded handgun, refusing to drop it. He was running towards a public area where there were people in the roadway behind them, approaching the University of Louisville campus, multiple open restaurants, but refusing to drop the handgun. And at some point, yes, he was shot.
Now, according to an arrest citation, police saw Marvin Smith in a car at a gas station over on Berry Boulevard, tying off clear plastic baggies. Police say when they tried to stop him, he ran off towards Central Avenue and 4th Street and pointed his gun with a light at them. You can see the officer body cam footage released here by LMPD. You can hear officers yelling to drop the gun several times. Smith entered the courtroom this morning on home incarceration, but today the judge reversed the ruling, holding him instead on a $50,000 bond in jail, meaning he was booked again.
He's not a convicted felon, perfectly permissible to have a firearm. No one told him he was under arrest. He's a 28-year-old black man who said he was afraid of the police. When the police pulled that car over, he's a 250-pound man running as fast as he can in the opposite direction. He was shot in the back.
And the judge found there was probable cause in the case and sent it to a grand jury. Smith will be back in court next month. A southern Indiana business caught on fire early this morning. Crews worked the large fire at the Coronado Stone Warehouse. It's a building for supplies on Charlestown Jeffersonville Pike. As of this morning, Jeffersonville fire crews were still on scene working hotspots. Louisville Fire also responding to a fire this morning around 8 o'clock. This is a separate fire. Crews arrived on Klondike Lane to an apartment building. It came from the 2nd floor apartment, the fire itself, where one person was evacuating. Firefighters helped them get out and got the fire under control within 15 minutes. Luckily, no one was hurt, but the apartment itself involved has extensive fire damage. The Red Cross is helping the displaced people. Now to an update on a miraculous rescue. You might have heard about this. This man you see behind me, now identified as Matt Ream. He's lucky to be alive. After 6 days trapped in his mangled truck in Indiana, he's now smiling and giving a thumbs up. Annie Kate has more on his rescue and recovery.
That nearly unrecognizable clump of shiny crushed metal, now surrounded by rescuers, is a pickup truck tucked just out of passing view beneath a Portage, Indiana interstate overpass. The mangled truck went unnoticed for days.
One more day and something could have been very different here.
This afternoon, Mario Garcia and his son-in-law Navardo spent the afternoon scouring hidden fishing spots. Traversing the mud through Salt Creek, Garcia noticed this.
I looked inside and moved the white airbag, and there was a body in there.
He said, "Get on the phone." I seen the person inside, the occupant, and my first instinct was to call, for help.
He had a jacket almost like mine, and all I seen was this part, the shoulder, and I went to touch the shoulder, and the moment I touched the shoulder, he swung around. He woke up.
Still stuck in driving position, Garcia said the driver told him he'd been stranded and paralyzed in place since last Wednesday.
He says he tried yelling and screaming, but nobody would hear him. It was just quiet, just the sound of the water.
For 6 days, he says the male driver, who's in his 20s, yelled into the abyss. Help was just out of his reach.
His phone fell to the side. He couldn't reach it, and he was pinned very, very tight.
We were put there for a reason.
Once Navardo called 911, it took professional rescuers hours and hundreds of pounds of machinery.
And they had a very difficult time getting down into the creek area with their equipment to basically to cut him out and remove him.
From there, it was a multi-team uphill balancing act to get the still unidentified driver into an ambulance and then a helicopter. By the grace of 2 curious local fishermen, that male driver finally made it out of the interstate embankment alive.
And of course, we still have so many questions about this case, including whether anyone was looking for him while he was trapped under that bridge. Indiana State Police and the St. Joseph County Police say they didn't have a missing person report on file.